Parents, I'm sure you have wondered, how can I help prepare my children for their financial future? Because, you know, the scary reality is teens who don't know the basics of banking, budgeting, and managing income versus expenses are more likely to start their young adult lives in debt and really making those poor financial decisions. So Ted Beck, the president and CEO of National Endowment for Financial Education, is here to tell us how financially literate the teens in the U.S. are. Ted, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.
So let's actually start there. How do our teens kind of stack up against the rest of the world when it comes to financial literacy?
Well, we could do better. There was just a very important research piece that came out that compared our 15-year-olds to 15-year-olds around the world, and we came in 7 out of 15. So middle of the pack, which is where we were in the previous study 3 years earlier. And the negative news is that 22% of our young people actually were in the lowest category of financial knowledge, and only 10% in the top category out of 5 categories. So we've got some work to do.
And I did mention a little bit off the top some of those dangers if, you know, they're not getting that financial literacy they so desperately need. But tell me more about what that really means for them.
Well, if you look at the 15-year-olds, they pretty soon become 18-year-olds. And at that point, they're starting to make decisions about funding their continuing education, student loans. They're also starting to have access to credit cards and debt. And at that point, they really need to make sure that they're making responsible decisions and learning about paying off credit cards and maybe having some emergency money set aside and having a plan to fund their continuing education. So starting early really helps put them in a great position. And also, it kind of goes on through to retirement. The U.S. is kind of unique in that we have a fairly low income replacement program called Social Security that only covers about 45% of what people need in retirement. So we have to have financial education to make sure that they know how to save enough money over their working lives to cover the difference. And our replacement rate is low, and also our financial knowledge rate is low. So we need to improve that financial knowledge so people continually work to put themselves in a good place.
Well, now that we know all the benefits of course, getting there, who's really responsible for kind of doing that financial education for our teens?
Well, I think it's a shared responsibility. If you look at schools, there are some very good programs that are available from organizations like ours to embed financial education in schools. And actually, the University of Arizona, locally for you, is one of the real leaders in this area. So they've done some great work that we think is very high quality. So trying to get those programs embedded in the schools with teacher training to go along with it so that teachers are comfortable with the subject, we think is a very important step. Also, these programs tend to be free. So asking your school district, what are you doing to provide financial education for your children, is a very valid question because there's plenty of resources out there. And maybe more importantly, as parents, all of our research shows that parental involvement is a real key factor in the success of young people. And actually, a lot of this research, again, started at the U of A. So we've been looking at that, saying, how can we get people to talk about their kids or talk with their kids about money? That's very important. Make it a discussion, not a lecture. Talk about mistakes you've made. Talk about how you budget, how you pay off your credit cards. Do you save money for emergencies? Those are discussions that your children really will benefit from, and especially if it's not a lecture.
Now, is there somewhere where we can go online to kind of educate ourselves so that we can kind of pass some of that information on to our kids?
Yes, our website's smartaboutmoney.org, and I think that's a great resource. We are a nonprofit. We do not endorse products. We do not sell anything. All the information there is strictly based on helping you improve your own financial knowledge base for your own account and also to pass on to your children. So smartaboutmoney.org may be a help to you.
Well, Ted, you have been a great help today. I want to thank you one more time.
Great, thank you.
Don't go anywhere. The Morning Blend, we'll be right back.